Hi, boss. So, I don't know what happened. I did a recording on my phone, and the fucking shit just disappeared on it. And fuck, I can't find it. I recorded on my phone. I never deleted it, and it's gone. So, anyhow, but I remember what I was talking about. Let me get a lighter. So, I had my ex drive me up there to go get some raw milk. And I remember something. I remembered that I was kidnapped. And then I was kidnapped. And then I remember city lights. I remember airplane. And then I remember Hawaii. And I remember watching cartoon. I think it was Popeye or Tom and Jerry. I remember watching that. And then I remember I was at a shack with rats. Then I remember I was always crying when I see old people. They scare me. But there was just one lady. I was told that she was my auntie. Her name was Molly. And I remember her room was white. And she had caca. She had a bed. She was laying on a twin bed. And her room had caca. Like on the wall. I only saw her once. And I was taken away from that room. And then I remember there was this man. I was told it was my grandfather. And then that was the last time I saw this lady walking away or something, and she just disappeared. I remember she walked away. And I remember that story I told you. There was a lady that she was peeing standing. She had a mole in her back. And for some reason I remember I was told that my grandmother had cancer. That was, and then you weren't supposed to pop something or whatever, blah blah blah. Anyway, I remember something like that. And then then I remember I was swinging. I scraped my forehead. And then I remember my hair was being burned. And I remember I was told that it was my mother's home. She gave birth. She gave birth to someone. And I remember I was always like stealing her cigarettes and sat on a log and smoke. And then, okay, so I also remember that I stepped on a thorn. It was a lemon thorn. And then there was this man in a bike. I think it was my father. He grabbed me and picked me up and took me to the hospital near that home that I was told it was my mother's home. And then I remember that was the last time I saw my father. And then I remember my father was very sick, and there was this lady taking care of my father. They gave him like, I don't know, poison or something. And then he was sick for like 10 or 7 days or 2 weeks. And then I remember and that's what I remember about my father being sick. And my father worked at a prison. My father always take me with him, and then I would see prisoners. And then I remember he was supposed to hang people, but then my father refused to hang people. I don't know why. I would have hung him. I was little, huh? And then I remember we lived near an ocean with white sand and clear water. And I remember I would be like playing or going after my father when he would leave the boat or something like that. And I remember he would just throw me to the ocean, and I had to swim back. And then I would just sit by a rock and play with the starfish. And I would climb up there would be trees near the ocean. I would be climbing up there, and I remember climbing White Rock, and there was a cemetery on top of the rock. I always go there, and then I would come back to the land. And I remember this woman, which is my mother, she would chase me to the house and she would hit me. And I also remember I had a little pig. It was a white pink pig. And I remember having a butter knife, but a sharp butter knife. And then I remember I was young, but my private area was bleeding. And I remember watermelon plant, like watermelon garden. And I remember mango tree. I was told it was, I think that was the captain at the island in Tonga. The name is there, but I can't say it right now. But I remember I would always listen to this song. It would be Tako Anine Mohe. And then I was trained to dance at this school. And then, and I also remember that my father had to go back and forth to, like, I think Australia, New Zealand, and he would bring back Switzerland product for me to eat, because I wouldn't eat anything else. Because I remember they tried to feed me eggs and shit, and that shit I was always getting sick. I couldn't eat it. I was throwing up and getting sick and shit. But I just remember that I always had like pennies to go to the market and buy gum, or I would buy stuff and put it on my dad's tab, and I would do that almost all the time and stuff. But there's another story that it disappeared when I was recording, but I'll think about it to see what I was talking about. But